Hello, everyone. Welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss. It is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. You can post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X. My name there is @Pless. Here are the key tenets to my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, and that certainly applies to the large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the Nasdaq 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index, and the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And just like the S&P 500, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range, volatility for the day, as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap, real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset, and those setups can be taken in that asset with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, and also intraday or longer time frame like a swing trade, depending on your account and the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, let's get started. My agenda for today, Wednesday, March 26th. First of all, I want to go over news items for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started with news items for today. Oops. All right, so let's move on to the ES futures and Bookmap. And today there was a data release this morning. Durable goods orders at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time came in greater than expected, but less than the previous number. And coming up for the rest of the week, tomorrow GDP data comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then finally on Friday, PCE data comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And again, this market seems to be focused primarily on tariffs. I think there was some tariff news commentary this morning sending the market lower. All right, so that is the data coming up for the rest of the week. Let's move on to positional analysis now. So again, this is the ES futures and Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at a higher time frame. I'm going to go to the SPX, the underlying index, and take a look at a 1 year, 1 day chart for SPX. Correction began looks like the day before or on February expiration. And then on March 13th, SPX found support right at 5,500, just above 5,500. That was the put wall at the time. And the rally looks like it's under a little bit of pressure. The rally attempt is under a little bit of pressure now. So let's take a look at a little bit shorter time frame. Let's go to a 30-day, 1 hour chart. So here is the correction began right around February expiration. Looks like the day before, or mainly on the Friday of February expiration. Found support right around 5,500. That was the put wall at the time. Then various levels of support and resistance. Some pinging back between 5,600 and 5,700. And then on Monday, SPX broke out above 5,700 and looks like it's trading right back down to that level. All right, let's take a look at the levels on this chart. First of all, the dash lines are showing the weekly and daily expected move. So let's start with the weekly expected move shown by the dashed purple lines. There's the lower weekly expected move and the upper weekly expected move. And note, yesterday, SPX did trade above that upper weekly expected move and now is trading well below that level. All right, those are the weekly expected moves. Those levels, there's been a little bit of a couple of questions the last couple of weeks, so I want to make sure this is clear. The weekly expected moves, that's based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday, those levels remain in place for the entire week. They do not move. And then the daily expected moves, they're updated every day. I do update those every day. That's based on the closing price for SPX from yesterday. I do post those levels in Discord every day the evening before. So as price moves up and down, those daily expected moves can change every day, and they can certainly move up above the upper weekly expected move or down below the lower weekly expected move. And you can see today the upper daily expected move is above the upper weekly expected move. And if price continues to move lower, SPX continues to move lower, that will change tomorrow. SPX will, the daily expected moves will most likely move down below the upper weekly expected move. All right, so hope that's clear. Weekly expected moves stay in place for the entire week, and the daily expected moves move every day, and they can certainly move up above the upper daily expected move like yesterday or today. All right, those are the expected moves. Let's take a look at the spot gamma levels on this chart. These are shown by the dark red lines. They're based on gamma-weighted open interest. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers on a variety of trading platforms. This is Thinkorswim, again, a 30-day, 1 hour chart. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, the put wall is at 5,600. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And up above that is the volatility trigger, the VT level. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. And note that now SPX is trading below its volatility trigger. We'll take a closer look at Gamma in just a minute. Next level is the call wall at 58.50. That's a strike with the largest net positive Gamma. That has moved down substantially. That actually moved down yesterday. So on Monday, the call wall was at 6,500. Yesterday, it moved down to 58.50, quite a move lower, and remains at that level today. And then finally, the absolute Gamma strike is at 6,000. That's the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative Gamma. And that can be that is where most of the Gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. And the call wall is the strike with the largest net positive Gamma, and it can be expected to act as resistance. All right, so those are the key daily levels. And let's wrap up our review of SPX with a 1-minute chart. So we can get a closer look at the levels in play for today. All right, so you can see the gap up on Monday. Here's the gap up on Monday, above 5,700 right there. Then consolidation for a couple of days. Looks like that was going to be the case for today, and that is not the case. SPX in a very nice, steady downtrend. Looks like earlier today, the 57.50 volatility trigger around that level acted as support, then resistance. SPX now made it all the way down to the 5,700 level. At 5,700 was noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. All right, so these are the SPX levels in play for today. Note this election gap. Interesting enough, did act as resistance. All right, let's move on to Bookmap now. So I place a lot of importance on the SPX and SPY levels, so I show them on this chart. And here is this cluster of levels. The SPX 5,700 level is in this cluster of levels. Let me see what I'm using for the whoops, that's wrong spreadsheet. All right, so right now I'm using 50 for the ES to SPX difference. Looks like it's closer to 49 now. So I want to change that back. Give me just a moment. So I'm using the price lines add-on to show the SPX and SPY levels on this chart. I did change the SPX to SPY offset back to 49. So that SPX 5,900 level, 5,700 level is shown at 57.49, ES 57.49. So that ES to SPX offset is 49 points. And that is that's what I'm using right now. There's the volatility trigger. I know there are several labels on top of each other, but that's the SPX 5750 volatility trigger. Just above that is the SPY 574 volatility trigger. And by the way, shifts in levels for SPX, the volatility trigger did shift slightly higher. Same for SPY, volatility trigger also shifted higher. And for SPY, the absolute gamma strike shifted up to 575, shown right there. All right, so on the upside, just after the cash open here today, right around the SPX 5786 zero gamma level acted as resistance, and so far the 5700 level acting as support in a nice steady downtrend today. All right, so that's the S&P 500. And again, right now, SPX and SPY both trading below their volatility triggers. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Similar chart, just more range, more movement. So this is the NQ futures in Bookmap. And let's take a look at the underlying index charts. I'm going to start with NDX. And for NDX, spot gamma levels, 20,200 is the large gamma 4 level. That's the upper level. And the put walls at 20,000. NDX trading below that level. And the zero gamma levels at 19,940, 934. And for NDX, the volatility trigger is at 19,590, so still below. So NDX is trading up above its volatility trigger. Let's take a look at QQQ. Here's QQQ. It is trading below its volatility trigger at 489. 490 is the absolute gamma strike. And another nice steady downtrend for QQQ. All right, back to Bookmap. So again, just like the ES for NQ, I have the NDX and QQQ levels shown on this chart. And for example, there's the 20,000 put wall, and that offset NDX to NQ to NDX offset is 200 points today. So that 20,000 put wall is shown at NQ 20,020, 200. Note, NQ trading well below its lower daily expected move. And we'll talk about setups in just a few minutes. All right, shifts in levels for Nasdaq. For the NDX, the put wall did shift higher. And for QQQ, the call wall shifted higher. So again, QQQ trading below its volatility trigger, and NDX still trading above that volatility trigger. And the downtrend continues. Again, we'll talk about setups in a few minutes. Great shorts across the board, with one exception that I'll talk about, one stock that you may be aware of. All right, let's move on. Let's wrap up positional analysis by taking a look at Gamma. And Slotarazi says semi-weakness. SMH was a good sign today for me. Welcome, Slotarazi. Glad you're here. Yeah, definitely semiconductor weakness. We'll take a look at NVIDIA when I get to stocks in just a couple of minutes. All right, let's wrap up our positional analysis by taking a look at Gamma. This is Gamma, market maker's position on the Gamma curve at the beginning of the day. And this is for the S&P 500, Nasdaq, Russell 2000. Note all these numbers are negative with the exception of NDX, but much less negative than they have been the last few days. So overall, Gamma notional has been becoming less negative And really, that's been going on for about the last week. So still mildly negative, and certainly will be more negative tomorrow if this move down continues. All right, let's take a real-time look at Gamma now. Let's go to the Trace tool. And this is available to Spotgamma subscribers. Blue shading is showing positive gamma, and the red shading shows areas of negative gamma. Let's step back in time, see how this day is played out. Let's go back to about 9:40, just 10 minutes after the cash open. This tool is updated every 10 minutes. So again, blue shading, positive gamma. Stability index this morning was still pretty low at 21%, indicating potential for a large amount of movement. And note all the blue GEX bars, gamma exposure bars, over on the right-hand side, indicating a lot of positive gamma. So at the open, SPX trading in positive gamma, pocket of positive gamma, with negative gamma below and above. As time passes on, and focus your attention on this 5,700 strike here. So that's showing market makers' position as positive gamma, traders in negative gamma. They're selling puts at that level. Note that 5,700 is starting to increase as price approaches. This is based on gamma, so gamma increases toward expiration is greatest at expiration at the money. So gamma has been increasing at 5,700, and this pocket of positive gamma has moved down below, right around that 5,700 strike, providing some support to the market. Let's take a quick look at Bookmap again. Go back to ES. So again, this is the SPX 5,700, and the SP 500 is trying to find some support there, that positive gamma providing some support. All right, let's go back now. So that is the analysis for today, the setup preparation. Looking for generally, I was looking for a little bit lower or moderate volatility, but that was not the case today. More movement and some support in positive gamma zones. All right, so that's what's happening today. All right, let's move on now. Let's take a look at some setups. I'm going to start with the SP 500. This is the hero tool available to Spotgamma subscribers. I'm going to start again with the SP 500 and look at the hero signal. This is hedging impact real-time options. And this is the index signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the S&P 500 index components. That's SPX, SPY, ES, and XSP. Orange line showing calls, blue line showing puts. We can also look at the equity signal. And what this is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for all 500 stocks in the S&P 500 index. Again, orange line calls, blue line puts. What this chart is showing is traders have been buying puts and selling calls all day, and that activity continues. Let's go back to the index signal. So what this is showing is traders have been buying puts, and initially they were selling a few calls, but that leveled off. Overall net for the day, they have been call buyers in the index components, but put buyers definitely overwhelming. That's a pretty large number. That notional value there at minus 6.18 billion, and that is just the index component for puts. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit. So you can see pretty much from the open, traders were buying puts, and initially there were a few call buyers. That quickly reversed right around 941. So at 941, that reversal there pretty clearly signaled with the hero signal. Traders are already buying puts, started selling calls. That's kind of a call peak pattern there. Then the blue line, orange line moving the same direction, and that is a bearish continuation pattern, momentum pattern. All right, let's take a look at the equity signal. And today the equities signal is in sync with the, at least the put signal in the index signal, the S&P 500. All moving down. Traders buying puts in the index components and buying puts and selling calls in the S&P 500 stocks. And that is going to be a lot of the Mag 7 stocks. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap. Back to ES. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can get a look at the earlier part of this move down and look at the clues in Bookmap. And note the last couple of days, the zero gamma level has been at 57.77. That has also acted as resistance. And the zero gamma level moved up to 57.86 today, acting as resistance. Also the SPY 576 level. And the order flow shifts negative. You can see the buyers are exhausted there. A couple of small green volume dots. Aggressive sellers start to come in, shown by the magenta volume dots. Cumulative volume delta, shown by the magenta line there, starts to fall. And as price moves lower, sell stop orders help to fuel that move lower. So aggressive sellers, sell stop orders, and traders buying puts in the index components and selling calls and buying puts in the S&P 500 stocks, all pointing clearly to a move lower, bearish move today. Some support at this cluster of levels here. This is the SPY of the SPX 5750 volatility trigger, the white line, and that is ES 5800 just above that. Then price broke lower. Let's zoom back in. Out, I'm sorry. All right, so one thing that's kind of interesting today, we'll see this on Nasdaq as well. Large traders have been fading this move. That's shown by this light blue line. Large traders buying weakness with iceberg orders. Large traders use iceberg orders to hide their size. All right, so that's the S&P 500. Still trying to find support at 5,700. So very steady mechanical downtrend today. Best play was just to buy a put, SPY put, or an SPX put if you like to trade that. Or just sell futures and hold on, or sell SPY shares, however you like to trade. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Similar story, move lower. Resistance at VWAP, light blue line. Let's see what options traders are doing. Back to Hero. Let's go to the Nasdaq signal. Pretty similar to the S&P 500 index signal. Call line pretty flat, traders buying puts. That's the index components for Nasdaq, NDX, and QQQ. Again, call line flat, that's shown by the orange line. Traders buying puts. Price moves lower, breaks below the NDX 20,000 put wall. And the 19,000 key gamma strike, 19,600 key gamma strike, and the 590 hedge wall down below. All right, that is the Nasdaq signal. Here's the Mag 7 signal, and note that the S&P 500 equity signal is really the Mag 7 plus 493. So typically the S&P 500 equity signal will look very close, will be very similar to the Mag 7 signal. So again, traders buying puts and selling calls, the Mag 7 stocks. We'll take a look at some examples of that. And Nasdaq moves lower. Very similar subchart to the ES. Cumulative volume, delta falling, sell stop orders fueling the move lower, and large traders buying with iceberg orders, buying weakness. And they will most likely stop buying as soon as price moves lower. All right, order flow. Again, know how it shifts abruptly. Just after 9:30, aggressive sellers start to come in. Large magenta vots fueling that move lower. Traders aggressively selling NQ magenta volume dots again at every pullback. So very bearish signals in Nasdaq as well. All right, any questions about the indexes? Questions, comments? Was that enough detail? Do you need to see more? All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at some of the Mag 7 stocks. Apple. First stock I want to take a look at. Let's see what options traders are doing. Let's go back to Hero. Go to Apple. Very nice reversal at the 225 call wall. This is a fantastic bearish setup. Call wall level you expect to act as resistance. Note the very brief bullish opening drive. Call peak patterns. Very reliable bearish reversal pattern. Traders start selling calls, buying puts as Apple reverses at the 225 call wall. Again, a level expected to act as resistance. Let's go to Bookmap. There's the 225 call wall. Those are limit sell orders at 225 shown by the heat map and Bookmap history limit orders. Those orders were consumed. More came in after price reversed lower. So there's a limit sell orders at 225 remaining in place. Price grinding lower. Very steady move down in cumulative volume delta shown by that magenta line there. All right, so that's Apple, one of the Mag 7 stocks moving lower. Next stock I want to take a look at is Amazon. Amazon cumulative volume delta, the kind of the opposite of Apple, a lot of aggressive buyers, but options traders definitely driving price in Amazon today. Let's take a look at Hero. Zoom in on this just a little bit. And for about the first 10 minutes, traders were selling puts and buying calls, and that abruptly reversed lower just before 9:40. So after a brief up move, traders are buying puts, selling calls, bearish continuation pattern, price moved lower, and then started to consolidate as the put buyers and call sellers took their foot off the gas. Let's go to Bookmap. So there's that bearish opening drive. Amazon tried to recover, found resistance at VWAP, and now making lows of the day. Back to Hero. Zoom out. All right, so right now the Hero lines, call line, and put line are pretty flat. 200 is the key gamma strike. That would be the target below. Let's go back and take a look at Bookmap. All right, there's the 200 key gamma strike. Primary target down below. Those are limit buy orders in at 200. And that liquidity tends to track price. So if price breaks through 201 or traders start selling calls and buying puts again, price will most likely move down to 200. All right, next stock, Meta. We'll see what options traders are doing in Meta. So another bearish opening drive, bearish continuation. See if I can zoom in just a little bit. So in Meta, from the open, traders were selling calls. Initially selling calls, buying puts, resume buying puts. Looks like some large block orders there, large institutional orders, driving that near vertical line. Traders, large traders selling calls. Price continues to move down until the call sellers and put buyers take the foot off the gas. All right, so a bearish opening drive, bearish continuation pattern in Meta. So after a brief bit of chop, first 15 minutes, aggressive sellers finally come in and price drops. You can see all the magenta volume dots. And taking price all the way almost down to 610. Again, limit buy orders in the order book. Note how cumulative volume delta was falling pretty sharply for the first maybe 55 minutes. Now cumulative volume delta is leveled off. And those limit buy orders at 610 remain just below. So several levels, several instances of absorption at 610 there. All right, that's Meta. Next stock, NVIDIA. Very bearish day in NVIDIA. There you go, Sotorazi. Semiconductors definitely weak today. And NVIDIA, I think, probably leading the move lower. Let's see what options traders are doing. All right, very bearish in NVIDIA. Bearish opening drive, bearish continuation. And that continues. Traders buying puts and selling calls. Also note the aggressive sellers coming in. There was a little bit, it looks like a bullish opening print, and then aggressive sellers started to come in. Price breaks below VWAP. A little bit of consolidation right around 115, but the aggressive sellers were still in. You can see all the magenta volume dots. And aggressive buyers really didn't start to come in until just before noon. But price continues to grind lower as traders continue to buy puts and sell calls. All right, that's NVIDIA. Tesla has been really strong the last few days. Traders taking profits today, it looks like. Let's see what options traders are doing. Initially, the hedging flow was negative, and then about 9:35, some put sellers and call buyers came in. That was very brief. A little bit of a call peak pattern there. Note I'm still on a beta version here in the staging environment. But it looks like a little bit of a call divergence there. I'm having some trouble zooming in, but the call signal started to move lower before the price started to move lower. So a little bit of a lead there with the call signal, setting up that reversal right around 9:45. Let's go take a look at that in Bookmap. Can zoom in. Take a look at the first hour. Nice trend break there. Aggressive sellers have started to come in. Cumulative volume delta starting to decrease. More aggressive sellers coming in, magenta volume dots. Price breaks below VWAP as traders resume selling calls and buying puts with that call peak pattern. Call peak pattern, trend break. Cumulative volume delta shifts lower. And price moves lower. All right, any questions about Tesla? All right, last stock I want to take a look at is GameStop. Bucking the trend today, or at least it was earlier today. So GameStop reported earnings after the close yesterday. Apparently the earnings came in better than expected. And then also GameStop announced that they would be buying Bitcoin. So they're adopting a strategy, something like the stock known as strategy, or it used to be MicroStrategy. So I think GameStop wants to be the mini MicroStrategy. So that's their latest scheme, is to accumulate Bitcoin. All right, one thing to notice here is let's take a look. We'll take a look at Hero in just a minute. Focus on order flow first. A lot of aggressive buyers, green volume dots, confirmed by the rising cumulative volume delta that's shown by the dark blue line there. Also, the market pulse price change indicator is providing excellent clues about the deeper pullbacks that you can use for an entry in an uptrend. And this is what I always look for. Note the price change. This is the market pulse price change, market pulse indicator, price change algorithm. Note that market pulse price change extreme, and then price change starts to increase as price moves lower, providing a very nice leading indicator of that first pullback, long entry. Same thing here, slight lead, market pulse price change, and there's your lower high entry right there. Next, lower extreme, another pullback entry, next extreme, pullback entry. This one a little bit late in the move. Price does undercut that right here, moves down to VWAP, and then again, market pulse price change confirmation. All right, so there's GameStop, the next mini MicroStrategy. So let's take a look. Note 30 is I believe 30 is the call wall. Let's take a look at Hero, see what options traders are doing. Go to GameStop. Traders buying calls. After a brief drop down, bullish opening drive, traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls. They have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. The flow alert comes in right at the cash open. Signals significant options activity, gets your attention. Classic pattern here, bullish opening drive. Call buyers take the foot off the gas, then price consolidates. Bullish opening drive, call exhaustion, price consolidates or moves lower, and this is below the 30 call wall. All that liquidity at that level. And Soterize asks, is there anything showing in SMH that stands out in Spotgamma? So let's take a look. Let's take a look at SMH. And SMH is the semiconductor ETF. So in SMH, traders have been selling calls, buying puts, put buyers really driving price lower, kind of a choppy Hero signal. Let's shift to the total, and that provides a little bit more clarity. And here's the flow alert. They came in just before 10 o'clock. Price has already started to move lower. Broke below the 227.50 hedge wall. Let's see if we can zoom in on that just a little bit. All right, so Soterize, here are your clues. First of all, price breaks below the 227 hedge wall. Price breaks below that level. At that point, the Hero signal is already moving lower. Flow alert came in a little bit late, but that did precede these large block orders. So the aggressive entry would have been here right at 228.50, just at that trend break. Now I do not have SMH in Bookmap, so we'll just have to stick to this chart. Trend break. First aggressive entry, then a break of the 227 hedge wall, next entry point. And this is without looking at Bookmap. There may have been, I'm sure there were additional clues to setting up that short, but traders were taking negative delta positions, primarily buying puts. Trend break below the 227.50 hedge wall as traders are taking negative delta options positions. Sotorazi, hope that helped. All right, looks like Hero Signal continues to move lower. Let's check NVIDIA. We can take a look at. All right, so NVIDIA, the Hero Signal has leveled off just a bit. Let's take a look at AMD. Nice call peak pattern reversal at the 116 call wall. Broadcom also looks very similar to SMH, or SMH looks very similar to Broadcom. Trend break. Price moves lower as traders take negative delta options positions. Let's go back to Bookmap. So in Bookmap, I do have, and I took Broadcom out to show GameStop. Take a look at AMD. Reversal lower at 115, break below VWAP and steady downtrend. Let's see, did we look at Hero for AMD? Yeah. Reversal at the 116 call wall. Or looks like just below it. Looks like Bookmap clips off the top. All right, so reversal lower. Aggressive sellers start to come in. This is AMD. Oops. Steady downtrend. And primary target was at 110, the high liquidity at that level. All right, back to Hero. And for AMD, 110 is the hedge wall key gamma strike. Back to Bookmap. I'm going to get rid of GameStop and bring in Broadcom again. Well, I took out Robinhood to show GameStop, so I do have Broadcom here. All right, weakness in Broadcom as well, and this is a much more bearish open here. A lot of aggressive sellers at the open. Price moves lower. High liquidity at 180, and then looks like 179.50 were the primary targets for the move lower. Looks like some aggressive buyers starting to come in now. You can see all the green green volume dots. A lot of aggressive buyers coming in. Let's go back and take a look at Hero. All right, so the Hero signals leveled off. The shift of puts and calls. All right, traders have started buying calls. Looks like they continue to buy puts as well. Check AMD again. Then NVIDIA. All right, so this is typically the afternoon. The options traders have really taken the foot off the gas. All right, let's check the indexes. Let's see how S&P 500 is doing with that 5,700 level. Go back to Bookmap. All right, so far the 5,700 positive gamma holding as support. Again, 5,700 noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. Back to Hero. I'm just going to leave it on the total signal, so traders now starting to take positive delta positions in the S&P 500 index, starting about 2 o'clock. Check the equity signal. Equity signal flattening out. Index signal rising. Let's check trace. All right, so that pocket of positive gamma down around 5,700, holding a support so far. Stability index down to 12%. Let's check charm pressure, see if we can identify a potential pin. A lot, kind of a clustering view here. That should, I guess, decluster as the end of day approaches. But pinning target, potential pinning targets, primarily, let's see, 5,700. That would be the primary pinning target. And if price does move up, a potential at 5,740. So what I'm looking for is these large strikes, positive gamma strikes, and then also the trace charm showing blue buying support below, red selling pressure above at those zones. And that may be just a little bit below that 5740 positive gamma Gex bar on the left. All right, does anyone else have anything they want me to take a look at? Any stocks? Any questions about anything? The indexes? Let's check our SPX chart. Go to the 1 minute chart. So charm pressure was showing potential pins at 5,700 and somewhere in this zone right here, which would be right around this previous high point resistance level. Right back to Bookmap. All right, so again, so far, 5,700 holding a support. Some aggressive buyers starting to come in. I'm seeing more green volume dots, and the index hero signal rising, and the equity signal is flat. And supernova, I already talked about Tesla. we can take a quick look again. You may want to watch the recording. I did. Tesla's one of the stocks that I highlighted. Nice reversal pattern right at 9:45 as traders sold calls and bought puts. And Elvis, welcome. Glad you're here as well. Welcome, Supernovas. Asked me to take a look at crypto. I do not have Bitcoin in Bookmap, and this I do occasionally have it on Bookmap on another computer. I don't have it on my computer today. We can take a look at IBIT if you want. One of the Bitcoin ETFs. Kind of choppy action in IBIT here. Interesting that it did find resistance at the 50 level. That is the key gamma strike call wall. So IBIT found a resistance at that level. All right, back to Bookmap, back to ES. 5700 still holding. One last look at NQ. All right, NQ also trying to move higher. All right, everyone, my time is up. I want to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. Remember PCE data on Friday, GDP data tomorrow, and then next week should be interesting with the April 2nd tariff day. So we'll talk about that next week. So join me on Monday as I get us prepared for the upcoming week. All right, everyone, thanks again for watching. Have a great afternoon, and I will see you next Monday. Thanks. Bye.